let's talk about the Carolina Panthers here. This offseason, both in free agency and in the draft, the Panthers made massive upgrades at a position of need. That's basically their entire offensive line. But one of their more recent additions has quietly gone under the radar, but it may be one of the more important ones. Miles, I know you have the story there.
Yeah, Nick, the Panthers certainly did beef up the offensive line with additions of Bradley Bozeman, Austin Corbett, Ike Ekwonu, and none other than Cade Mays, who I'm going to focus on a little bit here. Cade Mays is a rookie out of the University of Tennessee, so he's played in SEC school against big-time talent. But the piece here that I have talks about Mays' versatility. Panthers head coach Matt Rhule noted that Mays was one of the few guys playing three positions out there, and Mays has also notably played all five offensive line positions in college. That versatility, Rhule says, is paramount and essential for Mays to develop as an offensive lineman in a group that has a couple of free agent pickups and a first rounder. So if anyone was to get hurt at this point in time, Mays is well suited to go in at any position across that offensive line and be a decent contributor. So this story really piqued my interest. And you being a former college offensive lineman, I had a couple questions for you that I'm sure the people want to know, Nick. How crazy is it? It seems crazy to me that this guy is getting reps at every single position on the offensive line. Is that difficult?
Yeah, it's extremely difficult and rare. I mean, usually what you have is you'll usually have what's called like a swing tackle, a guy who can play either left tackle or right tackle as a backup. And then sometimes you'll have a backup guard who has experience snapping and he can kind of be a backup guard and a backup center. To have someone play all five positions of the offensive line is extremely rare because all five positions have different skill sets, right? Center, obviously, you're snapping the football, so it's a lot more control with your offhand, the hand that's not snapping. Using that, you're obviously also closer to the defense because, you're right on top of the football, so it's a whole different footwork game as well. Guard is different because you're off the ball a little bit, but you're still blocking much larger defenders. You have to get deeper in pass protection compared to center. And obviously tackle with both the passing blocking game and the run blocking game. You're blocking the defensive ends, the more athletic guys, and the left tackle protecting the blind side. It's a completely different animal in of itself. So it is extremely rare, and credit to Mace to even having the ability to even try it is very commendable.
And I want to focus on this because it seems that along the offensive line of the ball, the Panthers highly value versatility. Ekwonu, who could play tackle or guard. They have Bozeman, who can play guard or center. And they have Mays that can play every position on the field, maybe even safety potentially. This seems like a pretty sound strategy for the Panthers, who had a notably weak offensive line. Now they have an offensive line that, if anything happens, it seems like anybody on that line can play any position. They can cover over very efficiently, don't you think?
Well, yeah, and one of the more important parts of offensive line, it's talked about a good bit, is continuity and teamwork working together. And it's not so much learning how, if you're a center, for example, it's not learning how a left guard plays and a right guard plays. It's learning how that guy who's playing left guard, how he plays, what his strengths and weaknesses are, if he's a little hurt, if he's a little, distracted, or he's not up to the snuff that game. The fact that they have guys that can play everywhere is really important, because sometimes it's not just about having, the most talented guys, but having five guys on the offensive line that know what each other is doing. So if you can, kind of keep as much of that continuity together, even if you have to shuffle positions around, like even let's say Ekwonu has to move to guard and Bozeman has to go to center or something like that, just having repetition and knowing where people are and who those guys are and how they play goes a long way in the offensive line, especially in a chaotic environment of a game where you got defenses usually trying to run crazy stunts or different packages. And this is even more of a factor when you bring in Matt Corral as a young quarterback, right? You got a young quarterback learning the offense. It's new to the NFL. It's a chaotic environment. Having an offensive lineman that, know how each other play around them will go a long way to keeping him upright.
All right, Nick, it's time to get your internet privacy back today on every device you own in any country you want. Don't let anyone but you control your internet. NordVPN keeps you safe from prying eyes wherever you go online with their military-grade encryption. Is your favorite Netflix or streaming content blocked in the US? You can simply connect to one of the many countries available with NordVPN and get the access you need.
That's right, Maya. So right now, get our exclusive NordVPN deal here at nordvpn.com/SMI. It's risk-free now with NordVPN's 30-day money-back guarantee. Again, get that exclusive deal, nordvpn.com/SMI.